All right, mates, welcome back to the channel. J.L. Scott Fishing and Eats. Hope everybody's doing well. A little midweek apologize, missed yesterday. But midweek rant, midweek report, just a quick update of some crazy stuff going down. Quick update on the Potomac, Upper Potomac, still low, mates. I mean, it's crazy. The water is very clear, though. It's kind of amazing. It's almost surreal when you're out there. It's been really foggy the last, Monday through Wednesday. Not so much today. I think we're going to have a really good weekend, to be honest with you. The bite has slowed a little bit, but the bites have been bigger. That's kind of like, that's fall fishing, mates, in the mid-Atlantic. Small, a lot of bigger fish are being caught. You can check that out on the site. You can check that out on a couple of the guides as well. They're still booking trips at a great clip. So check for open dates. Jeff Green, Shallow Water Fishing Adventures. Check for open dates for the Upper Potomac. He also fishes Susky. And there are a couple other guys on the Shenandoah, like Old Dominion and Maury River Smallmouth. For down in the Maury River, there's some big ones down there biting right now. Maury is just Maury and Shenandoah in the fall. Not only is it a great place to just do a float during the fall, when the weather's nice, not cold, but in that 60-degree temperature. Just a really great place to go. And just float for a day on a Saturday or Sunday. If you can get away. But a lot going down in the fishing industry, fishing tournament industry, I should say. And let's make no mistake, mates. Tournament fishing is an industry. Okay. There's the fishing community. There's the fishing retail segment, all the expos and all the stuff and all the retailers and all that side of the fishing community. But make no mistake, tournament fishing is an industry in itself. And so a lot of organizations are making changes. I cannot remember a time when so many organizations universally in the community are making so many changes or are talking about potential changes. I can't remember. Even when MLF took over FLW, okay, there were not this many changes, like abruptly changes, right? Impacting anglers and such. So as most of you guys should have already well known, if you're following it at all, MLF's going back to a 5-fish. Talked about that, the 5-fish format. And whether or not you agree with that or not, I talked about it 6 to 8 months ago on my channel. I talked about it coming. I took a lot of heat. To me, it's every bit as much of a business decision as much as it is an angler a lot of anglers, a lot of well-known, reputable anglers wanting to go back to the best 5. Why is that? Well, you saw a lot of newer names over the last 5 years moving their way up the leaderboards when it was, basically catch as many as you can, right? And then the remember started, it was like, when they had the issues when it was like all these 1-pound fish, and then they raised it to like 2 pounds or so, or increased the size of it. But still, you got a lot of new names, you got a lot of guys, and I know a lot of guys in both boating and fishing that can go out and catch, even here on the Upper Potomac and on the Susquehanna for smallmouth, 50, 60, 70, 80 fish a day. Okay, that doesn't mean they're going to be all 19 inches. See, there's the dynamic in the fishing community that focuses on the biggin. We all get that. Because that's the old school, that was the old school mentality. Weight, size, big. A guy could catch 25 fish and his best 3 or best 5 are like 10 pounds. And no one's going to talk about it. A guy could come to the scales and catch 7 fish, bring 5 to the scales, and catch 16, 17 pounds and win the tournament, right? We're going to talk about him. That's been the old school mentality until they went to that format where guys could catch as many. So guys that are skilled at locating fish. Okay? And then, here became the problem. Is technology caught up with the tournament industry. And whether you agree or disagree, it's a totally different video. I understand both sides of it, okay? Whether you agree with side imaging and live scope or not, the fact of the matter is it has changed the sport of tournament fishing. And if you have a format, in my opinion, one of the underlying reasons why MLF is going back to best 5 is so they don't have to do away with live scope. Bear with me, okay? If you want to mitigate live scope and side imaging, okay, then you change your format to best 5 from as many fish as you can catch above 2 pounds. Here's why. Live scope is going to put you on fish. Now, it's not going to catch your fish for you, okay? There's all those arguments, okay? It's not going to catch your fish for you. But if you can find fish, we all know if you can find fish, you've got a much better chance of catching fish. Am I right? Okay? There's a difference between fishing and catching. We all get that. We all know that, okay? We all go out to fish, but that doesn't mean we all catch, okay? When you have live scope and side imaging, you are basically increasing your chances of locating fish exponentially, okay? Let's just be honest with it, what it is, okay? I've heard the arguments of people making it's the equivalent in the deer community of spotlighting deer. Whether you agree with that or not, it's an argument that's been made, and it's an argument that people have to consider because it basically shows you where the fish are. Like, okay? And, you know, you want to look at that and be centric on it has changed for a lot. Guys using live scope and side imaging are catching more fish, okay? Are they catching bigger fish, though? There's the question. So when you go back to best 5, you don't have to get rid of live scope. You don't have to get rid of side imaging. You don't have to get rid of any of all that stuff because that's not going to, that's not really going to impact your best 5, really. You've got to go through all those fish to get your best 5. Okay, and sometimes graphs and sometimes all that can be kind of weird. It's going to put you on fish, though. You're just going to have to work through those fish. You're still going to be able to catch a bunch of fish the same way you would in the other format. Those smaller fish just aren't, you're not going to fit. You're going to cull them. They're not going to count towards you. So it's almost a medium between the two without having to get rid of live scope. I really believe that if they'd have stayed with the other format for another year or so, 2 years, there would be drastic pushback under live scope because it becomes, people have argued it becomes too easy. Whether you agree with that or not, everyone's got an opinion. I'm just a schmuck on YouTube. And I got my opinion. And so, and I'll be honest with you, mates. I get it. I'd love to, lose side imaging or live scope out on freaking deep freaking water. You can, in this region, go out and use it on Little Seneca Lake. Go out and use it on Lake Anna. Go out and use it on Gaston, Smith Mountain Lake, Briery Creek, Sandy River, all that stuff. Absolutely. I mean, you know what? It's a game changer for you. But for me, fishing on a daily basis, or at least 3 to 4 times a week in 2 feet of water to 3.5 feet of water in the Upper Potomac, or the Monocacy, okay, or any of the creeks, or Clarion, or Allegheny, or the Yock, I don't really need live scope, mates. It's about reading rivers. It's about reading seams. It's about reading currents. It's about reading water flow. It's all these different things. I don't really need live scope. So I'm kind of like bipolar on the whole topic. I get it. But it's not really something that I'm going to utilize. Now, if I'm tournament angling in the opens and you look at the schedule, okay, right? Look at the schedule. Where are they going to fish? Will the utilization of live scope benefit anglers? Probably. So it's not going to go away. Other industry news crazy. The General, in case you guys haven't heard, Bassmaster Elite Series under legend status. Larry Nixon accepting his return under legend status next season to the Bassmaster Elite Series. That is crazy. And I say that, mates, because I know a lot of people who watch my channel, a lot of people that I talk to, especially young people that I meet in the kayak fishing community, they don't really have any idea about Larry Nixon. Like, they know who Larry Nixon is, okay? They know who Roland Martin is. They know who Bill Dance is, okay? People know who the names are, same as we know entertainers, right? Actors, singers, all that stuff. People on TV, people know who these people are. But they don't really know, like, okay, how important these people were, okay, back in the day, okay? And I say that a lot about Woo Dave's on the James River where I moved to when I was 12. Okay, most people today, I live up where I live up now, never heard of them. They have no idea who I'm talking about. People, remember, I'm in my 50s now, mates. So I remember Larry Nixon in 1983. Okay, winning the whole shit kabang on the Ohio River. I think it was Ohio River. Okay, like I remember Larry Nixon at Bassmaster Classics. Okay, back in the 80s. I remember him duking it out with Clun and all of those guys back in Gary Klein back in the day. Okay. So I've got an affinity for Larry Nixon. So people ought not sleep on him either. Because the guy can still catch fish. Like, I mean, that's what it's about. Okay. And I know a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, the old timers, they can only catch fish down in Texas, on Rayburn and Toledo Bend and whatever. Nah, man, Larry Nixon can catch smallmouth freaking anywhere. Okay. It's just a matter of whether or not it's drive. He has the drive enough to do it and really, like, you know, if he puts that, you know, in gear, I mean, look out. I mean, the guy wins. The guy flat. You look at that guy's career, mates. His career is unbelievable, and a lot of people do not talk about it. His winning percentage from events entered, if you go all the way back to like the 70s, late 70s to now, it is absolutely absurd. Like, winning getting a check 70, something like 70 to 75% of the time he gets a check in his career. Think about that. Like, that's crazy shit, in my opinion. Like, unbelievable stuff. All right. So I'm totally stoked about that. Other news coming out, KFL. So we're going to flip to the kayak side. Woo! I mean, again, a lot of this stuff is not confirmed. A lot of this stuff is still kind of out there circulating around. The champions of the KFL, the Coosa Kingfishers, are evidently leaving the KFL. One and done. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The old song, gone, take the money and run. Like, I mean, that's what's going down. And boy's taking that $32,000 payday, $4,000 an angler, from what I understand, reportedly. And dipping. Like, damn. Like, I mean, it's crazy. I'm speaking of dipping. They're not the only ones dipping, okay? MLF. BBT. Right? Oh, BPT, sorry. Bobby Lane. Dipping. Saying bye-bye. Okay? To the Pro Tour. And going to Bass. I don't know who you are, but unless you're living under a rock, that's some big damn news. I mean, now a lot of people are throwing shade on it, like, well, you know, whatever, okay? You know, the typical line, yeah, he's going to say it's about his family and there's something else going on, the conspiracy theorists. My argument is he's got money. Okay, that's my argument. Nothing against Bobby Lane. Bobby Lane's one of the best fishermen in the entire like fishing community, right? But he has the money to be able to make this determination that he's not going to fish in the Pro Tour. He's going to jump over and fish bass and work his way up to the Elite Series. He is comfortable enough in his winnings and his talent level and his confidence level to know that next year he'll qualify for the following year for the Bassmaster Elite Series, in my opinion. So, again, it's a rich man's game because the average person can't make that determination. The average guy isn't going to be able to jump and then fish in 9 events, 9 open events, have the money to do all that, and then, you know, obviously have the confidence to finish, win the division or win overall and move into the Bassmaster Elite Series by invitation for doing that, and Bobby does. And so kudos to Bobby. It's an economic decision that he is fortunate enough to make because he's been winning events and doing all those things. The average person who's been fishing for the last 3 or 4 years, probably in MLF, either in the Invitationals, the old Pro Circuit, or Tackle Warehouse, Toyota Series, BFL, they can't make that decision. Okay? So it is. I mean, bass is a rich man's game now, okay, or an upper middle class game. It is not a poor man's game. It'll make you poor. It'll make you poor quick, okay. It'll make you debt ridden quick, okay. You know, and so that's crazy to me. Like that's, I mean, he's freaking a like Red Crest champion. Like, okay, again, so Kuzo wins the KFL championship. Bye. Bobby Lane, Red Crest. Biggest thing they got going. Bye. I'm leaving your, I mean, it's nuts. You know? I mean, these are just things that are happening that are coming out this week that are just kind of crazy. You've got rules changes here now. I mean, I know some people threw some a little bit on KBF, I think, for you know, like everything that was going. They came out with some of the proposed changes they're going to make to their format for next year in terms of boundaries and all that stuff. They caught some shade about, like, you know, like they allowed the champion to fish wherever he wanted to fish during the national championship. But I mean, you know what? They kept their rules in place. They didn't change their rules right before an event. I don't think you can do that. I think that's worse. I mean, the rules may be bad, okay? But when you change the rules a week before your national championship and expect 250 anglers to adapt to it, and you know what I mean? I mean, people in the sport can't even manage to read the current rules. We see that all over the freaking community. Okay, just go in one of the groups and people just talking to them. It's like, it's in the rules, mate. Like, I can't tell you how many questions there are in Facebook groups, especially kayak fishing. And it's like, dude, did you read the rule? Like, it's in the rules, mate. Like, over and over. Like, it's like, you know, personally, it's like, you know, I know this is like hardcore shit, but lazy people can go. Like, I don't have any patience for lazy ass. I don't. Like, if you can't read the rules and you can't do your own due diligence and you can't do your own, like, lake breakdown, you can't do your own stuff for your own sake and your own fishing acumen, I got no time for you. Like, read the fucking rules. Like, you know? And then, if you have issues with the rules, that is where anglers should come together for a voice to work towards changing rules. I mean, that's how it works. Like, you know what? If there's a universal thing about a rule that just doesn't make any sense, right? Okay? Then anglers can make that to, you know, because again, you're the customer, guys. Like, you're paying to enter these tournaments. You are the customer. All right? Inevitably, there's more and more tournaments for you to fish, more and more trails for you to fish, more and more things for you to take your money. You're a customer. Okay? You're not just an angler. You're a customer. So you need to make sure your voices are heard. I mean, that's the reality. And I know there are a lot of, like, unfortunately, my position, again, just my opinion is, if an organization does not allow you to communicate, I'm not talking about going after judges. That's just stupid. Okay? Or some kind of, you know, that kind of, in terms of a term. I'm talking about, you know, giving your opinion or commentary on the direction or like things that are not involved on the water for an actual competitive event that involve judging. If the organization doesn't allow you to have your voice, doesn't allow you to, like, or like somehow penalizes you or penalize, you know, some kind of like, for you posting something about your opinion on the direction or whatever like that, then they're just an immature organization that doesn't really have faith in their ability to run their organization effectively. Okay? It's like, you know, I mean, it's like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, that's how you grow and get better, is you listen to your anglers. Okay? There's a time and place. There's obviously appropriate levels for which you can do that. You don't have to be an asshat, okay, in how you do it, of course. But you look right now, you've got plenty of bass anglers and MLF anglers doing videos and doing commentary on all the different rules changes in the different series. Go on YouTube and search how many anglers are MLF or bass next season. Like, what's my decision, or where am I going to fish? There's probably freaking 500 of them. I mean, everybody's asking the same questions about everything. Money, payouts, where should I go? What's the best thing economically for my family, for me? Chance to win, the schedule, all of that stuff. But in the backdrop of it, you got anglers moving. Okay. It's the NBA. You know, it's the NBA, it's the NFL. Just had their Tuesday, just had their last transfer portal in college sports. Anglers are going to be jumping ship, moving to different trails back and forth. Teams in the KFL are leaving. New teams are going to come in. Anglers are going to switch teams. Granite State right now, I mean, they had an awesome squad this year. I picked them to win it all. They just came a little bit short. I was expecting that team to come back next year like hell's freaking bells. And all of a sudden now they're picking up anglers. So it's that means they're dropping anglers. So where are those anglers going to go? Are they going to go to another KFL team, or are they going to leave the KFL altogether? That's the stuff that's going to be breaking in the coming days, in the coming weeks, across all fishing platforms in the country right now, as anglers make these decisions like Bobby Lane. I'm hearing just this morning there's going to be another major pro angler in the MLF to leave the Pro Tour in the next week or so. Another major announcement. I mean, I think there's going to be more. I think that people are looking for stability. They're looking for consistency. They're looking for integrity, objectivity. They're looking for mechanisms in place. For example, we've seen this year in a lot of organizations and it work, and then appeals process be non-existent, like in the KFL. There is a team in the KFL that is still waiting on an appeal since July. Okay? That it's unacceptable. Okay? Bass took 2 weeks and people freaking were all over them. Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long, right? Because it's Bass. But KFL on the other side can go 3 months, 3.5 months without a freaking appeals process or even a hearing. Or for the guys on that team that got banned to even know who actually banned them. It's ridiculous. And that's what organizations have to figure out. They've got to totally revamp their process for appeals, their process for rules, all of that stuff in this off season. And once they do that, anglers have to examine it and then make determinations for themselves on what they're going to do in 2023. It is going to be a tough environment next year. I've been saying this to people. The payouts are coming down, okay, in a lot of trail series, okay? Payouts are coming down. Entry fees may be going up. People have to be mindful of that and understand that that's the way it is with this economy and the things that are happening, okay? It's not a bubble. The fishing community is not immune to the economic factors that our country faces, mates. It's just a reality. So that's it. That's the rant. That's my rant. That's my rant for the week. There's so much more to get into. I'll cover it in a couple other videos coming up. We're going to break down a lot of the rules, the new rules coming out from a lot of trails. We're going to break down the angler agreement from the KFL. A lot of people had questions about, what do the anglers sign? What are they committing to when they fish in that organization? We're going to break that angler agreement down, show all that stuff, because people need to know. It's just good to know if you're out there and you're considering fishing these trails. What are the rules? What are the agreements? What's your responsibility? What's going to cost you in expenses and travel expenses to fish in these trails? All that stuff we're going to cover up here in the off season. All right, mates, I'll see you on the other side. Have a great day and a great weekend of fishing wherever you are. I'll see you on the other side.